Hello, my name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Loki. This is chapter 4, part 1. Ingrid had never seen a circus performance, so she did not know what to expect. Since in Mita, horseback riding was a fad, the ringmaster opened with a routine of street horses. The tricks were the usual flip-flop combined with balancing acts and juggling. And the final horse who entered the scene was a Belgian draft horse who was jumping all over the place. And from time to time he got a little bit too close to the audience, and even went into the stands, startling some of the onlookers, but not injuring or touching them in any way. When people started to run away, the ringmaster would yell, "People, relax, relax. Beamy is trained. He's only playing for us all, and wants to make friends, and he was raised by dogs, so do not be alarmed by his bizarre playful behavior." Beamy then trotted out of the ring, showing everyone that it was all an act, and the following event showcased somebody walking on the roof, and Ingrid had seen something like this before, and once one of the trollmates had bought rubber suction boots, and the problem was that the roof of the cave was far too uneven and moist to make proper use of them, and this resulted in the poor maid suffering a nasty fall from the roof when the surface she was standing on broke. And the following act was a pantomime featuring the stick figure who had accosted Ingrid. And other performers were gingerly dancing about and pretending to be fishes, and in the meantime the stick figure rocked back and forth in a sleepy sort of fashion. And eventually the humans representing the fishermen caught the fishes and the sponge was sent back into the ocean since it was not edible. However, without its roots, it started to drift through the currents and out of the ring, and the other marine creatures followed along. After the odd performance, the ringmaster entered. "Now let us take a break from today's entertainment and actually sit down and learn something, my good friends." Some of the people in the audience started booing when they heard this. "Son," the ringmaster said, "let's just get this over with. Behold, a strange creature with the face of a duck and the body of a beaver." One of the clowns then brought out a platypus. Some of the people in the back yelled, "That looks fake as shit." That the platypus looked fake. "The next strange marvel of nature is the ugliest monkey in existence," presented the ringmaster. And out came Nage, who was only 3 feet tall, bipedal and with slightly muscular frame, and the rest of the features like those of an aye, with his large black ears and vampire bat-like face, and small mouth and large green eyes and a crazy unkempt hair. Time, bro?
12 minutes.
When people started laughing at it, the Nage, and whatever dignity was left of him, raised his grotesque, elongated middle finger and walked out of the ring. The next creature in the catalog is not so hilarious looking, but rather an animal that I hold near and dear to my heart. "Tit-tit. Come here, Lucius," said the ringmaster, patting his knees with his hand. And after doing so, a fox with legs as long as those of a deer came out, and after petting Lucius for a bit, the ringmaster dismissed his pets and brought out other creatures like the thoughtful deer, the naked mole-rat, a gerenuk, a zebra duck-ear, an okapi, a cerberus, a unicorn, a griffin, a dragon, a mage, and a draconic crossbreed.
A mage, as if it was a creature?
Well, in the world over there, they call them pet. They dehumanize magic users, so sometimes they call them pet mages whenever they need a magic user. So yeah, magic users over there have been greatly dehumanized. At the end of the presentation, the ringmaster said, "It is important to learn and to love all of these different types of creatures who need our care and understanding, lest we never see and enjoy them, and give a round of applause to this beautiful children of the gods." With this cue, the animals were brought out together and once more paraded around in a circle for one final look before being sent away. And when the animals left, the following act focused on object manipulations like juggling, plate spinning, knife throwing, and so forth. And the most interesting of the act was one known as the Lester Act. The act was pioneered by a circus street performer named Simon Lester, and Lester used to perform this balancing act lying on his back with his feet in the air and using his feet to quickly turn round and round chairs and other large furniture, and he used to perform the same gimmick with small children. And this trick caught on and was soon copied by other performers from all around the entire kingdom, and most of the time unsuccessfully. Still, even when it failed, the lecturer did manage to summon plenty of hilarity and coins from the crowd. And when the battle scene was concluded, the ringmaster was changed, and the room was made for a bizarre dance of the stick figure with a crown. And the way it had float immediately the coming and going of the ocean waves, and people found it fascinating just by the sheer oddity of the creature standing before them. And it was something completely alien, even more so than the couple of greys that were within the audience. Like they were legit. It was more alien than the legit aliens that were watching the show as well. One of the greys said to Ingrid, "The thing is actually from the ocean." I never would have guessed, said Ingrid, not too convinced. And she had seen demons before conjured by her mother, but not had ever looked as strange as the pair of figures wiggling and swaying, coming and going, and turning and turning. And while the figure performed, the circus hands were busy dragging and setting up a large structure, and the creature from the ocean was essentially filler while the next act was being prepared. And the structure had 61 pipes, and 2 other circular structures were placed, and each of the holes corresponded to a traditional placement of the piano keys. Time, bro?
8 minutes.
And a water pipe was then brought in, and attached to the pipes connecting the last structures together, and from the outside water started to be pumped into the harbor, and soon water started coming in through the keyholes and resembling the workings of a fountain. And in the circle a chair was placed, and the ringmaster then said, "Now to play our amazing water piano, we had the amazing Loki, and for tonight at least he will be stepping in for our dear Master Jen, who is still recuperating from his injured hand. With his hair like burning flames and dressed in a frock, Loki took his place in the center of the so-called water piano. Its official name was a hydrolophone, and it was one of the odd gimmick things that had been discovered in the Cameron in the castle of Erageddon. And this one was but a replica created by the dwarven smith who had worked in the castle. And Loki gingerly started blocking the water with his nimble thin fingers, and each hole he blocked, it produced a sound akin to a pipe organ, and the sound of the running water emitted from the fountain added to the pleasant effect. And unlike water organs, the running water allowed for a continuous perfect pitch from the note being produced. And when Ingrid saw Loki on stage, she said to herself, "Why am I not surprised? The show off." And the gray made a strange noise which might have been interpreted as a chuckle, and Ingrid was too caught up with his turn of events to bother to pay attention to the gray alien that was sitting beside her. And while the fountain instrument had been showcased, it was locked aside to make room for the rest of the orchestra. And continuing with the theme of bizarre instruments, others joined in to play the mincy flute, an octave played by a giant fellow the same way as a violin, a cymbal, 4 strings, and 2 Hardinger fiddles. And part of the bread and butter of this ensemble was to promote new musical instruments that were sold by the circus troops, and they were not as much as new as rather unknown or unpopular, and the costs were usually married to classical instruments like the pianos, violin, guitars, and flutes. Time, bro?
6 minutes.
The guilds had a monopoly on those markets, so the only way to sell musical instruments was to sell something new and exciting, something that the craftsmen from the guilds would not know how to make. And to make this possible, the ringmaster always aimed to put on a good show. And once the band was set up, the acrobatics began, and the Turpin Circus always ended its show with 3 acrobatic acts with music in the background. And the leader was to play the first act and thus setting the tone for the rest of the performance. And it started with her slithering to the ground in an exotic black costume, and it was designed to give her a more lizard-like appearance with an ornamental silver dorsal chest, the crest on top of her chest, which was adorned by ostrich feathers and black and peacock feathers, and on top of her head she sported a 3-pointed crown. And her actual hair was silver like the sky, and it was like the sky belt, and it was curled and uncared for the effect, and her large eyes still had some semblance of humanity inside of them, with a white sierra and the eyelids to boot, and her eyes were orange with vertical slit iris, and from her nose to her forehead and down to her back she had black scales, and her cheeks and her aquamarine painted mouth, and front portion of her torso was human-like, with a thin, well-torn frame like the body of a gymnast or a ballerina, and her human skin was white with 2 black round dots on both her clavicula, and her waist was also black. She gingerly made her way towards the center of the ring while first passing by the musicians, and from time to time she would stick out her snake-like tongue. And out of the center she started slowly turning her friend back and forth as if she was trying to hypnotize someone. Time, bro?
4 minutes, 30 seconds.
And a thin smile painted on her lips, and then Loki slammed a chord with his bizarre instrument, and all was silent. And opening her mouth as wide as her snake friend would allow, she said, "Hello." In the single friends alone warranted plenty of applause from the audience if she had not done anything particularly special. Just her bizarre appearance was entertainment enough. And following her hoop acts began, and she started turning her body and spinning a hula hoop, and she maneuvered them with her head, with her neck, head, crown, and the final part of her snake body, and eventually she started unfurling and stretching upwards while maintaining the motion. And the period entered the stage, and they started to melodily march in circles around Alita, and then they maneuvered a hoop to her neck, and then to her head while she sang in the direction of the period, and each one caught a hoop in a different fashion with either their hands, arm, neck, or leg, and then resumed spinning. When all her hoops were sent away, the hula hoop collar like a coral snake descended from the roof and with a rope, and Alita coiled around it. And the music got a little bit mellow as she performed twisting and turns on the hoop and holding onto it with her mouth and then later in her chin, and it almost seemed a miracle that she had not splattered to the ground as of yet. And as her eyes started reaching its end, she started twisting her frame in an effort to remove much of her costume, and starting with a large heavy crown and ending with her one-piece feather costume. And her ornamental undergarments were decorated with golden jewelry and blue pearl skirts. Time, bro?
2 minutes.
Her hula hoop was by now 15 meters high, and she then leaned forward out of the hula hoop, forming a J pattern, and she then thrusted her body from the suspended hula hoop, free-falling, and she sucked in her abdomen, taking a deep breath and flattening her ribs, all the while continuing her serpentine motion of lateral undulation while keeping it parallel to the ground. And using this method, she gingerly glided towards the ground without splattering when she landed. Like, I saw that motion that's how certain snakes to jump off like trees and whatnot, so that's a legit way that snakes glide. Like, remember, like, the documentary? Whatever. When she landed, she smiled and said, "Ta-da!" And after the applause, she left the stage, and Ingrid wondered why Alita had only said 2 words in the entire performance, and after many performances, every master had concluded that if Alita spoke too much, the novelty of her ability to speak would lose its effect. Not that she was the only scaly creature in the kingdom with the ability to speak. She was different from the dragon, so she was at least a novelty, and with her departure, Ingrid also interested in the rest of the performance, and she got up and left the tent, and she circled around the main tent, looking in all directions where she had seen the performers depart, and in a smaller adjacent tent, the final performer was preparing for her act. And Ingrid went under the tent, and she saw the maid putting on her attire, and when she noticed Ingrid, she said to her, "Get my corsage." Timbre?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
In order not to betray herself as an outsider, she got the performer what she thought was a corsage, and when she brought the acrobat the cage for the skirt, the acrobat snapped and said, "What are you, a fool? A corsage, corsage, the thing that you put around your waist to look skinnier." "Oh, sorry, my apologies," said Ingrid flustered, and she found the corsage, and she tied it onto the acrobat, but she fumbled with the laces and ended up tangling them. And losing her patience, the acrobat got a knife and used it to cut the laces of the corsage, and she then gingerly pointed the knife at Ingrid, and she said, "Be a dear and find me someone who isn't a fool." Embarrassed, Ingrid left the room, and as she left, the handmaid then entered to help the acrobat get dressed for her performance, and the small tent had about 8 makeshift rooms, and they were only separated by curtains hanging by ropes, and Ingrid went room by room looking for Alita, and in the following room she saw something she should not have. And flustered, she continued her search, and each time she lifted a curtain, she saw things that did not make much sense to her. And the air had a pungent scent, and Ingrid was feeling sick, even though she had not eaten anything that day. Time, bro?
That's in a minute.
Alright, we'll end it here. Bye-bye.